Good morning, everybody. Hope you guys are doing well out there. Praying for you guys. I know what we're going through right now is different. It's difficult for some people. And some people are used to being alone and being isolated. But in any case, we all could use some prayer. We could all use a little bit of faith in this situation. Good morning, Deborah. This is a unique time we're in. And I think a lot of people are looking for some kind of guidance. So with that in mind, today I just want to take a small amount of your time. Let me turn this phone down. I want to take a small amount of your time and talk about purpose. And we kind of went over this a little bit before already. Good morning, Pastor Darren. We went over this a little bit already, but I think we'd be best served to clarify this a little bit, because I think there's a stigma that your purpose or what you do in life has to be like completely Christian, or it has to be completely God-centered or God-focused. And if you pay attention to what the Word really says about what we're to do, it's pretty clear that it kind of gives a little leeway as to what is unique to you. Good morning, Patricia. So to start this off, we're going to get straight into the Word, and we're going to read Colossians 3:23 through 24. And while you're getting there, if you're turning to it, we're talking about living within your purpose. Because I think that's important, not just right now, but it's kind of highlighted in this situation because the chances, the percentage of, like the chances of you getting lost are increased because of the dynamics of the situation. You're isolated from other people a majority of the time, which can cause people to feel lost inherently, despite not knowing what they need to do in life. Some people are just feeling lost just because they don't have as much of that human connection. So let's read the scripture and we'll talk about how this applies to our lives and what we can do moving forward. So it says, and this is the English Standard Version, it says, "Whatever you do, work heartily as for the Lord and not for men, knowing that from the Lord you'll receive the inheritance as your reward. You are serving the Lord Christ." That's Colossians 3:23 through 24. And this starts out pretty powerful because it says whatever you do. So if you have questions about like what it is that you should be doing, just understand that whatever you do. So a good way to think about it is, number one, what do you love to do? It weighs heavily that whatever you do, you have to love it. And we'll explain why a little bit later. Another question is, what are you naturally good at? What do you feel like you're gifted at? What's your calling? What do other people say that is really your gift? That's important also, because you can love to do something and be horrible at it, for lack of a better word, and it's going to be pretty difficult to have an impact on people's lives, because God can use what we do to reach other people. As a matter of fact, that's really the best way. If you're going to create a system in which you want to reach other people, you give them the ability to use their strengths. This works in the company. It works in any situation. If you have a company or the military or whatever situation it is, like you're running a business, you're best served to let those people do what they're really good at. That's how you get the most out of those people, and that's basically what the situation we're in as Christians, as God's children, is that God has put a gift inside of us that can be used effectively to reach other people and minister to them and help change their lives. And I think a lot of people are kind of deterred from doing what they really want to do because they feel like it's not significant enough. Like some people are good at making cookies, but they think since they're not running, in their mind, they don't think it could potentially be a multi-million-dollar business or something like that. They think it's insignificant. But God can use any gift that you have to reach people. If you're good at making cookies, then that's what you do. If you love to make cookies and you're good at it, then do that. If you're good with talking with kids and helping kids out, there's a calling for that situation. Basically, what I'm saying is there's nothing that you do that God's placed inside of you that's insignificant. Everything everybody on this earth has something inside of them that God can use. So don't downplay your gifts. Is basically what I'm saying. And this past week, I kind of had a dilemma. I was trying to figure out, am I doing the right thing? Because now I'm going to explain why it's important that you love what you do. There will be times when you will be tested. There will be times when you'll be tried. There will be times when you feel like nothing's working out, or you don't see the things that you expect to see happening in your life as a result of what you're doing. In those situations, number one, you really do have to love what it is that you do. Number two, if it is your gift that God placed inside of you, you really have to have a decent amount of faith. Now, you don't have to have an enormous amount of faith. The Bible says you have faith the size of a mustard seed. You can say to this mountain, be cast into the sea, and it'll go into the sea. So basically, if you have enough faith to believe that you can do what it is that you need to do, that you want to do with your calling, with your gift, with your purpose, that's enough. And matter of fact, an even better way to approach it is God wouldn't have woke you up if he didn't have something for you to do. So the fact that you're here is an indicator that God is, quote unquote, not done with you. So if anything, that should give you the will to do, to push you forward within your gift. And Pastor Dillon says, when you know your purpose, you will be the driving force to the will of God. Stay focused. That's important. And what's even more important is that last word he said was focus. Think about it like this. If you have a task to do, and a lot of people say that multitasking is useful and all that, but if you have a task to do, you're better served focusing in on that one task and putting your concentration on that task and knocking it out than you are at spreading it across multiple, spreading your eggs into multiple baskets. So how this relates to what I'm talking about is you have to have a certain amount of focus in order to be effective. So that means, and what this looks like in your life, let's say you have a normal job and you have this, on the other side, you have this aspiration to fulfill your calling that you believe God put you on this earth to do, which is, it could be whatever. You want to start just a retail business or something like that, or whatever you feel like your gift is. Eventually, you're going to get to the point where those two scenarios are going to collide with each other. You'll be faced with the job or the calling. And what happens with most people is they end up looking at their circumstance and saying, well, enough money to do this and this won't be taken care of. So they put their calling on the back burner and say, forget it. I'll stick with this job. When another opportunity comes up, then I'll try it again. The problem with that, and understand that I'm not telling anybody to quit your job. I'm just telling you how it worked out for me. And usually the general consensus, if you look at people that are widely successful in their calling, they're not typically working a normal job. It takes too much focus to do that calling. Jesus said when he was talking to his disciples and calling his disciples, that basically have to and leave what's comfortable to you to follow me. But understand, I'm not telling you to quit your job, but I am telling you that it does require a significant amount of focus, and eventually you will be faced with the situation: do I fulfill this calling or go for this calling, or do I do what's going to put what I know is going to put food on the table for this X amount of dollars per hour? And that can be a huge dilemma. But the first thing you have to understand is that you have to get started. You don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. The first step is just doing it. If you feel like God has given you a gift, operate in that gift. Just go for it. There's really no benefit to waiting, because number one, tomorrow's not guaranteed, and secondly, it's every day that you wait, you're losing crucial time that's going to be needed to invest in what God has called you to do. The other thing to understand is that time is also a form of currency. You have money, which gives you the ability to trade for goods and services that are needed, and you also have time. Now, time to me is more important than money, because without time, there's no money. If you run out of time today to do anything, everything else is done. Like your existence is built on time. With that being said, it's important to make sure that you're investing your time wisely. If somebody gave you $1 million and you weren't prepared for that $1 million, it's likely that you'll spend it unwisely. You'll invest in the wrong. You'll put the money into the wrong investments and all of that. And it's the same way if you have 24 hours. It's basically like getting $1 million. You have 24 hours to invest in the things that will push you forward into your destiny, into your purpose, into what God has called you to do. And if you spend that time unwisely or invest it unwisely, the purpose that it really was intended to serve in your life. And Jackie says, one step at a time. God has your plan for you. And you definitely want to take it one step at a time. And I would definitely trust God for the plan. Now, it doesn't hurt to come up with something that you believe could help you with it, help you get to where you're trying to go. It doesn't hurt to formulate a plan on your own, but at the same time, you should be using godly wisdom. You should at least pray and ask God, what should I just give me the wisdom as to what I need to do, and then you come up with a plan. And the thing to understand is that you might come up with the plan, but God is the one that's mainly going to be determining your steps. The Bible even says that in Proverbs. So you might have a destination that you want to get to, but He's going to be the one that determines the steps in order to get to that spot. So that's what we talked about this a little bit last week. About getting closer to God in order to understand what it is you need to be doing. But it's also important in the regard that when you're going through those steps, because some of the steps might be difficult to get through. There might be some difficulties along the way. Understanding that it's the process that God is putting you through. Just having that understanding will give you the strength to be able to push through. I've been through many ups and downs as far as my career and what God has put me on this earth to do. And the thing I can say is, when I was going through one stint, it was a long stint of just struggle. Like everything seemed to be hard during that time. But it wasn't until I had the realization that I'm going through this because it's part of God's plan. It's part of His purpose. This is the process that has to happen. As long as I continue to do what I feel I need to do, then eventually this will turn around. And eventually it did, but that's only because I was trusting in God during that process. But the main point I'm trying to give you is what we talked about in Colossians, is whatever you do, work heartily as for the Lord and not for men. So basically, if you have something inside of you that you want to do, whether it's making certain kind of products, or some people are good at doing hair, whatever it is, work at it as if you're working for the Lord. He can use that gift. You don't have to be a minister. You don't have to be, and it's not. I'm not saying that those things aren't good. I'm just saying that not everybody is called to do those things. All I'm saying is whatever God put inside of you, don't be ashamed to use that and go out and pursue that in the hopes, and well, not even in the hopes, knowing that God can use it to reach other people, because that is the case. And with that being said, I want to open up the floor to any comments or questions that people might have about this, because I know it's a struggle for some people to understand this concept, as simple as it may be, because God did put a gift inside of all of us, and some people can't come to grips with that whatever's inside of them, God can use. So if anybody has any questions or comments about this, go ahead and put it in the comment section. And while people are doing that, I used to struggle with this a long time ago, and I used to bounce back and forth from different things that I wanted to do, or things that I felt like I should have been doing. But I had to take a look at myself and say, what is it that I really love to do, that I'm gifted at, that I feel like God has put me on this earth to do. And once I figured that out, I said, I'm gonna go for it. I'm just gonna go for it and see what happens, because I know if I don't pursue this, I won't be as effective as I need to be, as far as reaching people that really need the help. Because it's one thing, and a lot of people feel like they have to be a minister, or they have to be a pastor or something like that, and that's not the case all the time. If people are called to do that, then that's good, because they're gonna be in a position to where they can use their gifts to minister to people that really need it. As far as the people outside of the church, it's really helpful if people are using their gifts that are generally based outside of the church, to be able to reach those people outside the church. So if you're doing, common sense to tell you, if you're doing people's hair, you're not in the church doing it 24/7. That's not how it works. You're likely going to be doing people that go to church. You're going to do people who believe in God, some people that don't believe in God, but you have the opportunity to reach people that normally wouldn't be reached if you were simply inside the church. And Shaitana said we should use every gift that God has given for His glory. And yep, I agree 100%. And now this does go back to something being your gift, something that God has given you. You can't say like a murderer or that's not their gift. It's something that's given to you by God, that you love, that's morally compliant with the Word of God. That's what we're talking about as your gift. I don't want to misconstrue that. Some people might have might like an understanding of what that really looks like, but yeah, that's basically it for this. I just wanted to take a few minutes of your time to talk about purpose, because I think a lot of people are struggling with this, and I know a few people are contacting me about in regard to this specific topic, and a lot of people are really struggling with this during this time. And I believe that if you, number one, you seek God, you're in His Word, and you really do a self-assessment and say, what do I love to do? What am I gifted at? What is it that I do that helps other people or has the potential to help other people? If you can identify those things, usually the crossroad between all of those questions is your gift, is your purpose, is what you can do to minister to other people. Deborah saying, are there times when you feel like you aren't doing enough? I think that's inherent with anything we do. And I feel like you can work at your craft or your gift almost nonstop and feel like you're not doing enough. I think we all go through that at some point. But I think the key to getting over that is understanding that you don't have to make a huge jump in progress every day. That's not how it works. And matter of fact, if you're only trying to do that, then at some point you'll either burn out or you'll get lost because you're not seeing the progress that you believe you should see. As long as you are making some effort towards progress or some effort toward moving forward in some way, that's usually enough. Because at the core of it, if you're not doing anything, of course you're not. It's not that you're standing still, but you're actually moving backward. So the fact that you're actually doing anything at all should be enough. But yeah, I do feel like there are times where even me, I feel like I'm not doing enough. But I just revert back to that understanding that any progress is progress. Whether it be a small amount, whether you're studying or learning something new or learning a new technique or whatever it is, that's still progress. So within that, you should feel like you're at least doing enough. Your struggle can be a push to minister to others. I think that's what he meant, and I believe that's true. Like if you're going through a rough situation, that could be the situation that pushes you to say, what can I do better to reach other people or to minister to people? What's an alternative? What can I do? And I've been through that also. I went through that kind of before I put out Blue Moon. And for people that don't know, I do music, and Blue Moon is the latest album I did, and it outperformed everything I ever did. But the reason why is because the struggle I went through before doing that, it gave me the drive to say, what is it that I need to do differently to where I can really minister to other people? And the only way I could rightfully do that is if I was doing something that can minister to me also. Because it's hard to do something that if it couldn't potentially benefit you in some way, it's hard to say that it could benefit others. Not saying that what you do for others should also benefit you. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if it's and I remember Samuel Jackson, a lot of people don't agree with a lot of stuff he says, but he did say one thing that made sense. He said, if I'm not willing to watch my own movies, then why should anybody else watch it? And that's kind of the same thing. If you're not willing to trust in whatever it is that you're doing, why should other people do the same? So I feel like those struggles can help identify what it is we need to be doing differently in order to really minister to other people and be effective with other people. But yeah, if anybody doesn't have any other comments or questions, I think this will wrap it up. Like I said, I just wanted to take a few minutes of your time just to kind of go over purpose, because I think a lot of us needed to, rehash that and go over that and identify what we can be doing to really minister to other people. Because a lot of people get disheartened that they're not ministers or they're not teachers, and they kind of just, fall off to the wayside because they feel like their gift isn't powerful enough to reach other people. So I just wanted to let you know that your gift is enough. And matter of fact, it's more than enough. Is what God put you on this earth specifically to do, to reach other people. So don't look down on your gift. Don't look down on your calling, on your purpose. And, the book was talking about this. This chapter was basically about your purpose. And this applies to the church also. We can't get lost in, what we're doing. We have to realize that we are different than other churches. Every church is going to be unique. So don't get lost in the comparative. Don't compare yourself to other ministries and all that. Just do what it is that God called you to do within the church. Shatana says you do not have to be a minister to administer healing to others. God can use all if we allow him. And I believe that 100%. And I like how she put, you don't have to be a minister to administer healing to others. That's good. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you everybody for watching this and joining me on this journey. Like I said before, don't look down on your gift. Don't look down on your calling, on the purpose that God put you on this earth to do. Use that and go toward it 100%. Don't relax. Don't rest on your laurels. Don't get distracted. Stay focused. Do what you got to do. Put the work in. Don't think that it's just going to come, just because you want it. It don't work like that. You have to actually do the work. And in doing that, don't be a busybody. Don't just do things just for the sake of doing them. Make sure that what you're doing, and it goes back to what Derlin said about being focused. Make sure that you're having a surgical level of work. There's a difference between, Arnold Schwarzenegger just going out and destroying a whole city block, and then Mark Wahlberg just coming in with a sniper and doing his job, and then getting out. You get the same end result with less quote unquote casualties. And it's the same thing in what you do. Don't spend a lot of time on tasks that are unrelated to what you're trying to do, and don't consider that productivity. Staying busy and being productive are not the same thing. So I don't want to keep rambling, but basically don't look down on your gift, and put your all into it. So with that being said, God bless you. I hope this word was helpful to you, and go out and be safe, and God bless. Thank you.